welcome Joanna. How are you today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Alexandra. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm super happy to have you on and hear all about your journey and what you do, and you can share all of that with us.
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that.
So, Johanna, could you please tell the audience a little more about your journey and how you discovered the somatic of consciousness and holistic healing methods?
Well, it's been a personal interest of mine since I was a child. I remember my parents always trying to put me into sports and things like that, and me like just escaping and going to the library and like trying to find books about mysticism, magic, and all these things. So I was always interested. I didn't want to be like in the group things. I always want to be like researching and looking into. So I was always interested in these topics. I think the first thing I came across when I was about 11 years old was the
Hmm.
hypnosis methods. I had a tape of some kind. I can't remember even from who it was, and it was like hypnosis methods and how to do it and everything. So I became like really um, uh, interested in the topic, and I started trying to hypnotize my family members and everything.
So
So
they were your guinea pigs.
yes.
Oh, that's
Then
cute.
the next thing was the past life regressions, the NLP. I started learning into metaphysics, and I just couldn't stop. There was so much information, so many things I wanted to know about, and I started like. I was always the youngest one because I was little at the time, and I was very interested. And and usually it was mainly women that were part of that community also, and they
Mhm.
welcomed me and like they tried to share with me like in easy ways like how to understand what they did. Mainly they were like community groups or like I said, people in the library that would gather for things like
Mhm.
this. um, so I was always interested in this for years, and probably it was at a point when I was I thought I had everything I wanted in life. I was married, I had my house, everything was perfect, but I was so unhappy, and I
Mhm.
didn't really know what was missing.
Mhm.
I was very immersed in the corporate world and my regular job. And that's when I said, I really need to find what's missing. And I started like a process of I started a process of separating myself from all the things that I thought could interfere with my awareness. So I changed my diet. I changed a lot of things in my lifestyle. I didn't go anywhere for a long time. I didn't want to be exposed to anything. I stopped cold turkey, like eating sugar, drinking coffee, like anything like eating gluten, anything that could be affecting my consciousness. So I really wanted to be a clear filter for it to just be able to connect directly with my inner self, because
And to get the information, right?
I thought all these things are really blocking my ability to connect, and I felt that there was something in between me and my ability to understand myself. And I said, "This is not doesn't feel right," and it did. I mean, it really worked. The more I changed my lifestyle, my diet, all these things, that I thought they were okay. I feel my mood changing. I felt I was more calm, and I was able to start writing. And that was something I didn't even know I had any interested in. But because I felt the connection, I needed to put it somewhere. I needed to like unload all this information that I started feeling. And my intuition was really on point, and it's something that you develop, and it's not really a skill. It's something that we all have. It's not like something that only some people have. We all have it, but it's buried behind all these things that we think that are normal in our daily life. So the more you clear all those interferences, the more you can really connect. And that was more about, and everything that I started writing at the beginning was about knowing myself and like why I do certain things, and just like basically guidelines for myself on how I can attain more connection,
Mhm.
and little practices and things. I mean, it was like so detailed, a perfect guide of how to clear my body, like fasting methods and all these things. And I was like just typing for like almost 6 months. All I did was writing, and I felt like I finally had the information that worked for me, because that was kind of my guide, my guidance that I could hear.
Mhm.
And it was so clear and so crisp that I couldn't really, there was no doubt or like, oh, maybe this is not, no, it was completely clear, and the messages were just very, very clear. And as I followed them, I felt like I was the most connected I ever been. And that was like probably the happiest memory I have in my life, more than traveling anywhere or doing anything, was when I had this connection, because I felt a sense of belonging that was incredible. And also just so clarity, like that confusion that we all have, like, why am I here, what am I doing?
Mhm.
That sense is so priceless, and I really, it just like it's a happiness that I can't even
Mm.
compare to anything. And that's how everything started, actually, just from being able to become this clear channel for
Mhm.
information. I was writing about my own ways of getting there, and in the books that I wrote about the elevation of consciousness were about
Mhm.
how to reach that state and follow that those same patterns. Basically, is like what I did to get to that point. And
Mhm.
I believe it's not that I'm different than anyone. Everyone can do it. It's just that we just are used to these things that um, we um, we don't realize how much our daily life, all the things that we eat, all the things that we do, or eat, our thoughts, habits, they can really
Mm.
separate us from this connection.
There's a
That we,
lot of disturbance, like in terms of,
so
we
much.
always find a way to numb of what's going on behind us, right? And we forget to listen to our inner voices. But
Yes.
we always, are on the phones, or we're always either watching TV, or we're busy, or we're going out with friends. We don't really pay attention to these things. And I think what you said beautifully is like, you had to disconnect yourself. You had to change your diet. You had to remove all these disturbances to really focus and listen to that inner voice that you've had. And I
Yes.
think this is absolutely beautiful. And yes, we all can tap into this. It's just
And this,
sometimes we choose not to.
exactly. And this connection can go as far as you want. I mean, at some point, I
Mhm.
felt that I hadn't seen anybody for like a year, and I thought, okay, this is enough. I need a little bit of also context. So you can really manage it. And it's not that you're going to be hiding at home forever, but that
Mhm.
was something I wanted to do. You can do it to the way that it feels right for you at the moment, and then you can take it to as far as you like. And if you feel like you need a whole year and disconnect and go somewhere far and just be with yourself, you can do that too, because we all have those periods. I had just gone through my mother's death at the time, and I really
Mhm.
needed the space. But some people, they have other responsibilities, they have families, and they really can't be disconnected. And the spiritual path is not about just leaving everything, but how to integrate
Mhm.
that within what you're doing or what works for you at the moment. And
Right.
we always can find a space for ourselves, even if it's like a few minutes a day that we meditate, or like we take a little break for like 20 minutes a day and just try to read or something that fits the spirit. It doesn't have to be like really going far, because a lot of questions that people ask me is like, how can I leave everything and follow my instinct, or like what my spiritual path? And I said, well, if you can't do it, at least try to do what you can right now, but
Mhm.
just don't ignore it completely or put it to another time, because then it's unbearable. It feels like you can't do anything else.
Right, right. So, what role do you believe healing plays in the journey towards higher consciousness?
It's basically everything, because healing is the process in which you are releasing all these disturbances, like you say. Healing is not only like a alignment of the physical body, but it's alignment of everything, the spiritual, the emotional, the mind. And it's needed. It's like we have to heal in order to achieve balance, in order to be connected, in order to elevate consciousness.
Mhm.
And there are some things that are and the important thing is, like, once you reach a certain level of consciousness, that keeps feeding back into your healing. So it's like you're maintained at this level. It's easier once you reach that certain awareness. than when you're starting. Of course, at the beginning, it's going to be harder because you have to make changes. But once you reach those changes, and once you reach that level of awareness, oh, what was I doing before? Why did I did these things? Then it's easier to just maintain. It doesn't get. It's not that difficult. It becomes like your new level of things that you like. Let's say changes everything, and it's harder to go back to the old ways after that.
Yeah, but do you find that people have a hard time to do that change? Do they
Yes,
reverse, do they go back to the old ways and then
yes,
they try it
actually,
again?
yes, and I see that a lot with when it's not, it doesn't really come from you, or if somebody is trying to tell you, oh, you need to do this. If it is not born from your own interest, it's definitely
Mhm.
not gonna stick. You have to be the one that starts it, and that happens
Right.
with a lot of people that are going through, like, let's say, addictions or issues like this. And
Mm.
if they're not the ones who really want to initiate the change, it's not going to really be as powerful as when somebody tells you to do it, of course. I mean, when somebody tells you to, it's not as powerful as when you decide to do it
Yeah.
yourself.
So it has to come from you.
It has to come from you. It's your
Mm.
own desire, your will. Nobody can take that will or that awareness. Nobody can give you awareness. Somebody can tell you, "Hey, you're doing this or that," and can trigger your
Mm.
curiosity. But if you don't have that awareness within you first, it really nothing is going to happen. The change is not going to be
Yeah.
that powerful. Yes.
Yeah. So my other question was to you, like, how do you define self-awareness and its importance, right? To elevate the consciousness.
Yeah, self awareness is the first step because
Yeah.
we are immersed in a world of outer awareness. We're aware of like the circumstances, the people
Mhm.
around us, and then that completely distracts us from the inner work. So that's why some people, and it's popular to see that when people are seeking inner awareness, they go away or they are separate from everything for some time because
Mhm.
it's easier when you're not exposed to things. But
Right.
the goal is that at some point you can be integrated in society and still be self-aware,
Right.
so that at first you might have to develop the habit because it's a mindset, really. It's just a way of developing a habit of self-awareness, and once you have that, then you can start like inserting yourself back into certain routines and see, oh, this is something I want to do or not, and then you see how those things could be distracting again, and then you don't, and then it's like you find your perfect way. It's not that you're going to be always separate from things or that it's
Right.
preventing from anything. It's just a training process. You have to see it as, okay, I want to reach certain goals. I have to practice, I have to train, I have to learn, and then when I have the tools, I feel more ready to be part of the regular everyday things.
Right. Right. So it's just
That's what,
basically going through the steps and realizing that those things are important to you, and then you go through the changes. Yeah.
exactly. And also, emotions have a lot to do with this, and that's why I talk about it so much, because emotions kind of blur your perception of things.
Yeah.
And if the first thing we see is all the emotional layer of perception,
Hmm.
and then it's like all the thoughts, and then it's like the body, if the body has any, and then finally you reach the consciousness. And that's why in my books I have three books. One that talks about the body, detoxifying the body, it talks about the mind and the subconscious mind, and another one that is more about spirit and consciousness, and they're like in that order, because first you have to really clear the emotional layer that is it's kind of like the one that is more basic, more into like a in the animalistic instinctual, like that, but that comes with just not nature or
Hmm.
emotions, and that is really strong in some people, especially people that deal with anxiety. They are very resilient to change, and they
Hmm.
don't really feel comfortable with change. So first they need to work in changing their diet, changing their habits, and things that help them overcome anxiety, and then it will be much easier to look into other bigger life changes, like changing elevating your consciousness, being more into
Right.
self-aware and things like this.
So we were talking about releasing the stored emotion in the body. Can you talk about a little bit more about releasing the stored emotion, especially the heart? Because I think a lot of us hold that emotion in our heart.
Yes,
What,
yes.
yeah, how would you do that?
Well, the heart is probably the one that filters all the emotions that have to do with the joy, but also with anxiety, with fear, anger. So it's like the one that processes everything. Like all the blood goes through the heart. I mean, it's
Mhm.
pumped through the heart. So basically, almost everything has to go through there at some point. And most emotions that are causing imbalances, we're going to feel palpitations or we're going to feel some kind of imbalance in the heart. Um, like I said, it's not only focusing on the heart itself, but we're going to have to work uh, throughout all the levels. We're going to have to do a physical detox. We're going to have to do pressure points. We're going to have to do the diet changes. We're going to have to also include exercise and other things that fix the body, help the body detox and clear. And then we also have to like start feeding our mind with positive thoughts and maybe surrounding ourselves with things that make us feel more comfortable, creating a safe space, learning how to create a safe place in our minds and meditate and things like this. So there are a few techniques that or things that we have to include that are part of self-care basically. And each person has their own recipe, what works for them according to the level of intensity of the emotions they're carrying and also on what works for them. For example, for me, meditating, sometimes sitting is I get distracted. I can't just like sit and meditate. So my meditation is writing. I write, I journal. I like just doing the little graphics I do on my page. Oh, that's my meditation. And when you see me putting a lot, it's because I'm really meditating more that
Yeah,
day. Like, I
yeah,
need to do my drawings. I need to do my writings. That's my meditation.
yeah. I'm
And
like you. I can't sit in one spot. For me, it's walking in nature. Walking
yeah,
nature, connect with the trees and the surroundings with me. That's listening to the birds. That's my meditation for me, for sure.
yeah. And I thought, I think a few years ago, or maybe in the books, one of the books too, I can remember now. I talk about walking meditation because it's
Mhm,
like another level when you are not sitting, but actually you're moving and you're trying to reach that connection.
mhm.
And I usually say, you have to be in a safe place where you're not gonna just run into a car. So, like, make sure you're like in a path, in a some kind of park or something where you're protected and just walk around and try to feel the connection. And it's amazing because you start seeing the colors change, like how everything gets more enhanced.
Mm,
Everything's your senses are more enhanced, and that's your indicator that you are connecting to a higher level because in a higher level of consciousness you see
mhm.
more and you hear more and you feel more. It's not, it's like somebody just went from like HD to like 4K like well,
Yeah,
with all
yeah,
this. Wow, it's interesting, and that's just your own
yeah,
consciousness. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, it's so important to connect within ourselves and the higher consciousness, like you mentioned. Um, we tend to, like I said earlier, we tend to get so busy
Yeah.
and we forget to stop on our tracks and to listen. Yeah,
Yeah. The problem is that we're going to be reminded later that when it's too late and we feel overwhelmed because we need it. We need the connection.
yeah,
That's we're here to learn that, but we try to push it and deprioritize it.
yeah,
And some people live their whole lives deprioritizing that until they're older, and then they finally reach that calm and that they don't have an ability to physically do anything, so they finally have the time there to create some awareness, and then that's why they say older people are wiser
yeah.
because that's when they can actually do it. But we can also develop that from now, so it doesn't
Hmm.
have to wait until this. You cannot really use it to apply it for your everyday life.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. How do you see the concept of self love intercepting with self awareness and higher consciousness?
It's all connected. Self awareness and
Hmm.
self love is basically what you find there. When
Hmm.
you're self aware, you find this love, this gratitude. It's a feeling that is so fulfilling that you don't feel lonely. You don't feel any of the other fear based emotions that are there when you're not connected to yourself. When you're connected to the outdoors, to the, I mean, you're connected to everything that is outside of you, then you can be afraid because you have no control of what's out there, or you can be anxious because you don't know what's going to happen next, and all
Mm.
these other things come because you're not being self-aware. But when you're self-aware, then it's just this sense of protection, safety, and that's what self-love is. Basically, you feel that you belong. Finally, there's like a um, you find home, basically,
Mm.
and it's necessary for elevation of consciousness. That's
Yeah.
when you start the path, and then it's like, I want to know more. How do I reach more of this? And
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, I think once you get to that point, you want to find more and you want to connect more. So you were talking about community. How important is having a community and be belonging to a community?
It's important because it just it kind of reaffirms that you're not the only one in this search, and the community doesn't have people that you necessarily know. It's just other people, or like even an environment that just affirms the energy that you are. It's also there, and it just
Mhm.
feels like family. Like, for example, you and I are talking, but it doesn't mean that we had to meet for many years to feel like there's a community, there's a sense of friendship.
Mhm.
So this is beautiful because you sense like that humanity there, like, oh, we're all here for each other. If somebody needs help, they can reach out, they can ask me a question, and I'm happy
Mhm.
to help. And that's how we create that community. Sometimes we don't find it at home, we don't find it in our closer relatives, and we feel discouraged because we think we are born into a family and they have to be our community. But many
Mm.
times it doesn't happen that way, and you have to find your own community, which basically is other people that resonate in the same energy and have similar interests and can help you grow those interests more.
Right, right. I think that's very important. It's like being in the community to help each other
Exactly.
grow, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. Could you share some insights from your book? One of the series, I believe it was The Power of the Elevation of Consciousness.
Yes, of course. So the power of the elevation of consciousness is a trilogy. We have three books there,
Mhm.
and there are three different ways of how to reach the elevation of consciousness. One is from the body, like changes that you do to your diet, like foods that are full of energy that help you connect more, movements that will help you breathe more, and techniques to like kind of visualize and do things with the body. So that's important because some people are less able to work the mind part, and they try everything logically to tell their mind, look, this is not a good habit, but it still doesn't work. So they
Mhm.
have to use the body and try other techniques. They're tapping and detoxing and doing that part, and then going back to the mind part. And then the first book was more about finding the true self. The it was about the spiritual search and why we're doing this and why we need to connect more to who we are, and how to leave the identities. It's about identification with emotions, identification with trauma, ideas, and all these things. Like, who am I based on all the things I believe or that are stored in my body and that are telling me that I'm this emotion or I'm this person
Mhm.
that I feel, but I know it's not me. So how do I detach from all that and reach the elevation of consciousness, which is leads me to my true self, which is the version of me detached from all those identities. So a series of exercises that are more about visualizing ourselves without all that baggage, and how do we feel, and how can we make our senses more intensified with this breathing exercises I was sharing with you
Mm.
about, and also like how to clear the energy centers, visualization practices, and all those things that I was using myself to reach my own elevation of consciousness, and
Yeah.
information that I knew from research, and also information that I knew from the times I was writing my own my own guide for myself and how to heal myself. And I thought they were so powerful and so beautiful that I said I had to share this with everybody. And
Mm.
I had workshops, and we had group classes in person and also online with groups. So we were following the exercises, and it's beautiful because we all had kind of the same sensations together going through the healing
Mm,
practices, and
mm.
it just felt like great to like be
It's the
able.
community. It's the community. And I think once you're in that community, you can really elevate that
Yeah,
sensation in your body. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and we all had our own transcendence into what we were looking for. Like some people were
Hmm.
trying to find answers to questions, others were trying to get over a difficult situation.
Hmm.
I wanted to like know how I can serve more and what is the next level of information that I can find to share.
Hmm.
And so we were all finding the answers to what we needed. It was not really like an agenda, like, oh, you're going to see this or you're going to, it's like whatever you need is what you're going to get, because that's why it's your journey, it's your self awareness is going to tell you right now, this is what you need. Maybe in 2 years, you repeat all the exercises and the same practices, you're going to find another answer because that
Right.
is what you need then. It's
Right.
a different search, you change, you already improved here, and now you're in a different part of your life where you need a different answer. So this is where you're going to find. And that's
Mm.
what the books are about, are basically practical exercises. I think each book has like 20 exercises. I
Hmm.
like practical things because there's some concepts, but if you cannot really take it to the practical level, then they're just concepts. And
Right.
I think there's enough concepts that people can find anywhere else if they want to research online or whatever. But I
Hmm.
said, let's get to the work, let's do this. And that's what my books are always about, some kind of practice or some kind of exercise. Or
Well, no, that's great. I think you need that foundation. And I think once you have that foundation, then you can reach, you can contact you or you can do your research on Google, whatever it is, to find that next level of where you are, right? So this is beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing about that.
yeah, sure.
I think the books would be very helpful to a lot of people when they're in search for, self-love, self-awareness, higher consciousness, and things like that. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yes, and now the next part, I mean, that I've been working on for a year now is the emotions in the body. That is going to be the next book that I'm going to work with. Also, it's going to have a journal and it's going to have a workbook because there has to be like practical
Hmm.
exercises. And I want something that people can use anytime that they need to go back to
Hmm.
it and say, okay, I need to repeat this because today I feel like this. So practical enough and easy to use, because that's when sometimes we give up on the trying to heal when things are
Hmm.
complicated. So
Yeah,
the easier, the better. Just follow 10 steps to try to do something on your own that makes you feel better
yeah,
and keep going.
yeah. So that brings me to a question on what are some common challenges that these individuals basically can face when they are on a journey of self-discovery.
Well, the first things are following trends. Sometimes they think people are looking for identity. So the most common things is that they find identity in a group. So they think, oh no, now I'm gonna be following this and I'm gonna be doing this. I am a yogi or I'm this and that,
Mm,
and then they forget that it's about themselves, and they identify with a group, and then they have to start again because that wasn't enough and they still feel like things are not completely,
mhm,
their questions are not solved 100%, so they need to go back. So I always recommend them, like, before you join, try to set yourself apart instead and like do the inner work, and then go and see what interests come to mind, and maybe instead of like fully identifying with a group or another, just see what you can learn from each one of them, but knowing who you are first, so it's not confusing for
mm,
you to towards your answers, and then you can still use that and join different groups, and you will see how much more diversified you are than just one or
mhm,
two. Like you can be anything, you can be anywhere. And I always tell everyone, the spiritual path is not about restricting you from doing certain things. It's about opening up so you can do everything you want. You can be rich, you can go to places. There's no limitations. There's no this self limitations about who we can talk to or what we can do or
yeah.
who's good or bad. It's about yourself, and nothing can really change that. Nothing around you can change who you are, if you're really sure and you really have done the work and you have seen yourself, then you can interact with things in any way you want, and they are just going to improve who you are.
That brings me to a point about myself. I've been on this journey for the past 7 years, but I'm like yourself. Before starting recording, we were chatting for a little bit, and I've been on this journey too for quite some times. I was always the odd person. I was always different. I was always into different things, into stars, and I always call the universe or the stars my home, for example, right? And I remember again being like an oddball in school where I'll be like, yes, I had friends, but I would be always alone. And going through the immigration and going through some rough times, some patches and all that stuff, when um, I finally realized that I'm missing something in my life. And about 7 years ago, that's when my consciousness awaken and be like, okay, this is it. And exactly what you mentioned. I was looking for the communities, but I was looking in the wrong places. I mean, they were great for that time for me to embrace and to look at myself and to rediscover who I was and what I was here for and that stuff. And then finally, about 2 years ago, I came to that conclusion. I'm like, I am my own individual. I need to do what's best for me. And I think once people focus on this, and yes, you have the support from your communities, your group of friends, and things like that, it's so helpful, you know? Um, I mean, I think we're all still in this path to search. We're looking for things. We're learning. I call it never ending journey. It's a
Yeah,
never ending journey. You always will learn about this stuff.
it's never ending, and that's the beauty of it, because imagine that you reach a point where you already know everything. It will be so unfulfilling after that. Like, what do? There is no more
Yeah.
growth. So this is the beauty of the spiral of life. Is like you can go as far as you like, and you can live as many lives as you like in the same life. I mean, you can be everything. I
Mm.
mean, I live with all this curiosity about every day. I want to see all the places. I want to know like
Yeah.
all the type of people. I want to practice everything. I keep trying experiments with my I like exercising, and I try like all these different foods and see like what will make me like stronger, what will help me think better. And I like have my schedule, like in the morning I'm gonna eat this, in the afternoon, and I like to do like my little chemistry experiment, but to eat. But I really see the changes. So I see how we can really experiment with anything in life and just go as far as we like in developing the mind, the body, our spiritual connection. Or there's so much to do, and I just hope for people to never lose that curiosity, because
And don't be stuck on one particular
yes, yeah,
concept. Be
yeah,
open to these things
exactly.
and change things around because I think it's so good for your mind, for your soul, for everything, right?
Yes. Yeah, even if like it's hard to change some habits, I always tell everyone, this is about mindset. Change something. Change how you write your letters, how you write numbers. Like learn a different word or in a different language. Just change something so that there is like this desire to change is stronger than the desire to remain the same. Like anything that triggers the mind, it doesn't matter how small it seems for the mind, is this change. I mean, the mind just knows, oh, this person has discipline and is strong enough to make changes. It doesn't matter like what it is or how really what way you use it, but it's a way to create mindset. For
Yeah.
example, the other days I can't remember what was going on. I was just feeling a little bit discouraged and a little bit tired. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start a new training routine where I'm going to like add more weights to my training, and I'm just gonna be like just push my body to the next level, so my mind would stop this thing of like this I can't do it or things like this. And after like 2 weeks, not only I was physically stronger, but my mind had stopped completely even trying to
Mm.
tell me. It was just like like funk state where I had reached a plateau of what I was doing with. It was like a the same for a while, and I know that for me that means like boring. Like I can't
Mhm.
stay. I need to like go.
You need a
And
change.
yes,
Yeah.
and then I started researching on all the new things I'm going to be working on and reactivating the community things about emotional healing that I had left for a while, and then just like okay, let's get back to the next level of things here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I have my phone, and you know on your iPhone how you can put everything into like a one um uh
Yeah, like an app, like
yeah,
a
like an
little.
app or whatever, right? So I put everything, I will organize everything, and I'm like, okay, all the social media goes in here, all the banking go here, all these, let's say,
Uh-huh.
shopping goes here. But what I do is it goes from, let's say, from left to right. But sometimes what I do is I'll shuffle. Once a
Like
month, whenever it pops in my head, I'm like, okay, shuffle it. So I shuffle it, and sometimes I'm like, I wanted to go, it's automatic. I want to go here, but I'm like, oh shoot, it's not here. I moved it. So I have to like tell my brain, I'm like, no, it's somewhere else.
look
So
for
it's
it.
like, it's so good for your mind just to have a simple phone and just move your apps around constantly.
Change
So that way
something.
you're not constantly in that one same pattern of, oh, this is where it is. I know it is. Because you're on autopilot at that point.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
worst. When you're an autopilot, it's like you're not even living, like you're not enjoying your life. You're just like just
You're
walking
just
through
going.
life. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's so much to really do. Like, so try some things if it's not possible for you to like travel or do things like this. Change the
Yeah.
things around the house,
Yeah.
change your eating schedule, wake up earlier, do things like that you can manage. It doesn't have to
Mm.
be something too. No, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be anything that
Yeah.
involves.
Little changes will do big things.
Exactly. Just change
Yeah.
some. Don't stay stuck. And
Yeah.
then that will trigger you to just try to change other things in a bigger level. Maybe
Mhm.
some people are more about things that really make a difference because they feel like small changes may not be encouraging, and other people need the small changes because they feel it's too overwhelming to do something big.
Right.
So go with whatever works for you. I'd
Yeah.
like to go for the big things and see how far I can go. But some people that, like I was mentioning, especially if they have to deal with anxiety every day and difficulty accepting changes, then try smaller things. The important thing is that you change something and
Mhm.
just keep going and improving and things like that. Work with you.
So, how do you approach the concept of subconscious mind in your teachings?
It's very important. I work a lot with the subconscious mind, not only mentally but also in the body. The body has a mind too that is in the cells. It's basically the information that is stored in the cells is the subconscious mind of the body. So some movements help you reset. Some pressure points help you reset that. Detoxing helps you reset. And then in the mind also we work with NLP. I like using NLP techniques, the neuro linguistic programming, visualization exercises, and repetition of words, affirmations, creating habits, things that will just change the patterns. And the most exciting for me is to find the patterns because I'm like curious. So when someone comes to me and tells me, I don't know why I do this, or I don't know why I'm going through this, and I said, let look at your habits. Let's look at what you do every day. And then I said, that's what I see. You're concerned about your relationship issues, and I can see that you have the same pattern of not trusting your employer, your parents, like everybody else. So this is going to reflect on that too. How can we make it work? How can we change something here? Maybe you have to be more flexible, understanding that it's not only that person, or you might have attracted a person that brings out this need of healing the trust issues.
Is
So
could that be part of their trauma?
yeah, absolutely. The trauma is what we were saying, the identity that we create from memories, and
Right.
we have to be able to release that identity to see the true self
Right.
that lies behind the trauma. Yes.
Right.
I mean, it sounds easier, like everybody says, "Ah, it's so easy to say," but it has to be done. And there's so many ways that at least you can get started. The thing is, like, you get started, doesn't matter how long it takes. And it's just about starting in some way and seeing some progress little by little.
So, what are some practical tools or techniques that you would recommend for
Uh,
individuals?
Well, it all depends on what's available to them. The most important thing is like you make your own list of what's easier for you according to your schedule. Like, for example, for me, I like exercising must be for everyone a priority because it really helps the body stay like active. But sometimes you don't have time to go to the gym. Well, maybe just do 10 minutes of like breathing exercises, whatever it is, like
Mhm.
activating the body, but have a schedule of daily activating your body somewhere. It could be, like I said, breathing, it could be jumping jack, anything that you can do. Have some exercise, and then nutrition is like also very important.
Mhm.
Do a little, you have to do a self awareness check and you have to be honest on what you eat
Mhm.
and see how things can be improved. Maybe make a list of the things that you're not so sure that are good for you, things that are definitely not good for you, and things that are good for you that you eat every day, and see how you can replace some things. And also changing your thoughts, how you talk to yourself every day. Like, is there maybe you can have a little journal and write down the way that your thoughts are during the day. Like in the
Mhm.
morning, for example, are you positive, negative? Like what kind of thoughts you manage in during the day, and see what kind of foods you're eating in between those times too. Like,
Mhm.
are the foods that you're eating supporting this kind of thoughts? How can you change that? So it's all about creating your plan, your scheduling, and you'll be surprised when you start doing those kind of exercises, how connected everything is. The days that you didn't exercise with the days that you had the most stress or anxiety, the days that you were eating more sugar, also the days that you had all this worry about something. Like it's all connected. So if
Yeah.
you really want to be part of your own change, you have to do some of the work.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to get out of the comfort zone, but it's really
Right.
comfortable to live anxious and afraid and worried. So I don't
Yeah.
see how comfortable that could be compared to making a change in
Yeah.
diet or in habit. It's all you have to measure and see really what's more uncomfortable for you.
Yeah. So you keep referring to diet, and earlier on you mentioned about food has energy. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, yes, of course. Their foods are live foods, like fruits and vegetables. Of course, they're more and they have more energy, and you can process them faster. You can have faster energy. However, there are foods that are more that you can use according to what you need to accomplish. For example, in Ayurveda, we talk about or we find a lot of information about foods for each dosha, which is basically our personality or ways of being, and how those foods work well for you to find balance. So you have to find what resonates with you.
Mhm.
If you're a person who thinks too much, then we have to look for foods that are more earthy, like more vegetables like from the ground, like potatoes, carrots, grains, things that will help us like ground a little more.
Mhm.
And this will help us release serotonin and calm us down.
Mhm.
And if we are a person who are very creative and we need to have like less of a digestive process that is heavy and we need to have like really clear minds, then we have to eat lighter foods like salads and just much lighter foods, especially during the work hours. And then maybe more at night we can have more of the foods that are earthy and more grains and so on. And
Mhm.
in the day, in the morning, that you're more active, you want to have your protein. I'm vegan, so I eat vegan protein in the morning.
Mhm.
But whatever works for you according to your diet, so
Mhm.
you measure. And I like to go with foods that have more energy, like colors, more
Eat the
depends on
rainbow.
yeah, I have all my colors and I cut everything and I just mix it up.
Yeah.
Depends on how, of course, depends also like what kind of process I am in. Like right now, I'm combining a detoxing with maintenance. So
Mhm.
in the morning, I have my celery juice. I love celery juice. It just makes me feel clean during the day. Just gives me
Mhm.
radiant skin. Before, like I used to have a coffee or something, and I would feel so bad during the day. So I said, why am I even doing that? So no,
Mhm.
I completely. erased it. It's not good for me. I don't feel good with coffee. Other people need
Mhm.
it. So instead, now I have a celery juice in the morning for years now, and it
Mhm.
just feels great. Sometimes I need more energy because I'm gonna go running or something. So that day I have a kale juice instead of. I mean, you just mix it
Mm.
around.
Yeah,
But
no, it's important. You have to find that what works for you, right? I find too sometimes coffee, um, it's heavy
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. I
And
mean, it
the
doesn't help you.
acidity of the coffee too really affects my stomach sometimes. Yeah. Even
Yeah,
though I love the taste of it, it just, yeah.
yeah, I had to go through the process of changing the habit. I realized it was more of a habit for me, so I changed it for
Yes.
tea. And then once I lost the habit of the tea too, I didn't even had any interest in any of it. Sometimes I have a tea, but it's not. I have no like really.
Yeah.
But I had to try each food and see how it makes me feel, and that was like a process of like when I was telling you that I stopped basically eating anything, and I
Mhm.
had like days that I would fast for the whole day just to try one food and see how I feel on that food, like one vegetable, like another thing, and I was able to create my program of like
Mhm.
this gives me energy, this makes me tired, this makes me sleepy,
Mhm.
this is good for the morning, this is good for so, and it doesn't have to be a lot of things actually. I don't remember who this was, but I agree with what he was saying that if the least things you eat, I mean, in the variety, it doesn't have to be like a lot of different things. You can have certain things that work well for you. Like when you have a routine at the gym, you always repeat the same exercise, you eat the same food because you want to see the progress with that. And then you change it to another one. No. It's like the same things we can do with our diet. Like
Mhm.
test what it works for you, and then you start making changes, adding things here and there, making
Removing
sure you,
certain foods. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's so important to have that habit. And I see now more and more people that have nutritionists in their like must have
Mhm.
people, like they have trainers, they have nutritionists, they have some kind of teachers for different things, coaches, people that have private chefs. I mean, not everybody has the
Yeah.
ability, but that's I see a raise on like awareness of nutrition
Well, I
lately.
find it that we are also so bombarded with so many Western foods, right? Everywhere you go, you have these billboards, you have these commercials, you have all that stuff, and the subconscious mind is like picking it all up, and you're like, "This is what I want," and you see this beautiful Big Mac on TV, and you're like salivating because you're like, "Oh, I want this Big Mac," which is not good. It's like
Exactly.
it's okay once in a while, but
Yeah.
stay away from that stuff. So,
Exactly. Carry your food with you and be full all the time of the good things so that
yeah,
doesn't even trigger
yeah,
anything.
that's it. That's it. So, what advice would you give to my listeners who are, for example, interested in starting on their own journey of self discovery and obviously elevating their consciousness?
Well, the most important thing is to don't get too attached to each thing because it's going to change. So today you have an interest, follow that interest. Don't wait until it changes. Follow that interest and see what it is, and be okay with being interested in something else 2 days later. It doesn't mean that you failed. Doesn't mean that. It just means that you're curious and you had some little information to pick from that thing, and now it's time to go into the next thing. And it's okay to go from thing to thing until you have felt that you have fulfilled your interest
Mm.
in that curiosity. And you never know how you're gonna get to what's really the good thing for you. I remember that for me, at first, many years ago, when I had a before I could reach like really connecting with my heart, I went to take singing lessons because I thought, I feel like I am very soft spoken, and for some reason I don't project enough intensity in my voice. So I'm going to take the singing lessons to see if that helps me because I thought the problem was my voice. I go to the singing lessons, and I'm probably there in my second week with a teacher, and she's like, you sing well, but do you see yourself like a singer? I'm like, no. Then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I really need to know why I can't. And she said, let's try this. Read something. Like I had a book, a real estate book in my purse, and she said, just read something from the book. It was an investment book, and I was reading like just a few paragraphs from that, and I was like, and then she said, now talk about something that you like. And then I started talking about the elevation of consciousness, energy healing. She's like, this is like two voices, two different people talking. So the difference is not that it's not on your voice. It's like in one thing, you're not connected from your heart. You're just being really logical and going with your mind. And the other thing, you're talking from the heart, and it's another voice, and it's a whole different energy projected into this. So you don't need, she said, single message. You just need to find what your heart wants. And that was a message that I found in a single lesson. And it was a really changing, it changed my life, because I realized that I had a lot of things in my heart that were covered. uh,
Compressed,
they
yes.
were suppressed, and my heart was like a rock. So I did a lot of work to see how can I open this heart, because I had all the intention and all the willingness to change, and but my heart was completely closed. So at that time, what came to me was a magnetic killing technique that I learn and I apply to. And with some magnets, I started working and like releasing the emotions that were stored in the heart. So that the science about that, it was that, or the theory on it, it was that you bring the consciousness of the emotion forward, and then with the magnet you clear it. And then I did that for some time, so I felt like release. The problem was that when I did that, I could see the truth, like where I was doing, like my work, my relationship, everything was like, oh my God, now I can hear the words that I didn't want to hear. I can see what I didn't want to see, because my heart was closed and I was numb and I couldn't feel anything. And then I could feel everything, and it was like, oh no. I opened like this door that I didn't know it was going to be so painful. But then I adapted, and I had to make changes because it was unbearable. But life became so much better after that. So it's like changes are gonna be painful, and then they're gonna be great, and like that's like a bicycle that you're gonna be riding for a little while until you have your boundaries and everything, and then it becomes just this place of comfort, safety, and a place where you can grow more, and you know that you're safe.
It's very important to find that safe space for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Any final thought you would like to share with us?
To just never give up on continue to have that curiosity about life, because there's so much, and if something doesn't work, doesn't mean that you don't work. It means that that's not the answer for you, for the things that you need to learn right now. Just keep going, and something else will be more for you in that moment. So just don't be discouraged by things not working out or not working the way you want to. These are just not the right things for you. Maybe you can revisit them later. And when you do, maybe you no longer have that interest anymore because you already went into another direction. So something that sometimes doesn't work for you is ends up being a blessing. And just trust how life works, and just keep going and following your passion and being a good person along the way, and everything will work out the right way.
I love this. Thank you. How can my audience message you or connect with you? Obviously, I will put everything in the notes at the end of the show, but if you can share that with us, that would be wonderful.
Yes, you can find me at healersofthelight.com. There on my website, I have a contact form, also on Instagram, of course. But who knows, things change. They sometimes don't like people talking about healing. So if you don't see me there, I'm in my website, healersofthelight.com, and I'm always welcome to any questions, any way I can help. Very happy to help.
I'm sorry, my dogs.
Oh, cute.
Well, Johanna, I really appreciate your time and your information. I had absolutely amazing conversation with you, so I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was so great talking to you, Alexandra. I hope
You're
to see you soon
welcome.
again. Bye. Take care.